Hello everyone and welcome to the webinar Grant Writing Fundamentals. I am going to give you the fundamental nuggets on how to write a basic grant. A lot of donors have their own templates, but if somebody is just saying, hey, send me a proposal, this is the fundamentals of what you need to send. See you soon and happy learning. We were
then the environment was cleaned up.
First time I was hearing about this stuff. Wow. It was totally new to me.
With Social Impact Consulting. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us at the Grant Writing Fundamentals webinar. If you are coming in, please let me know where you are joining us from, what state, so that I can thank you personally as we chat and go through this presentation together. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I am Efwa Ellens Ede. I am a passionate development enthusiast, lived in Chicago for over 15 years, and worked in the nonprofit sector. After doing an internship in an organization on the north side of Chicago, my career direction went that way. I worked in organizations in Chicago and in the Midwest on various thematic areas such as criminal justice reform, elections, healthcare reform, outreach to in and out of school youth. I was also part of a senior team that created systems to increase revenue from $150,000 to over $3 million. So when I came back to Nigeria, I had my kids and was the executive director of Junior Achievement Nigeria. At the time, the organization was almost 2 decades old, so I had big shoes to fill. I think I was about the 4th executive director in the organization. So I learned about the nuances of the development sector in Nigeria, especially in programming and in governance, in administration. I learned just so much information there. I also became a consultant and had various clients such as NDI, Chemonics, Dev Tech Systems, and many other clients. And it was through that I began to build my immense passion for nonprofits and social enterprises, in Nigeria. So here are just a few pictures. This was me in Chicago with my colleague. Here was me in Springfield. We're conducting advocacy on criminal justice reform. And then here was me back in Nigeria working with, a great organization, Yaga Africa Initiative, as they were passing the Not Too Young to Run bill, which was a constitutional amendment. And then this is another picture of me running my seminar on how to start and run a sustainable NGO. Now, here are my social media platforms. So on Facebook is Social Impact Consulting. Twitter is Social Impact Co1. Instagram is at Social Impact Consult. LinkedIn, just look Efwa Ede. And then my website is www.socialimpact.ng. And then my YouTube page is Social Impact Consulting. It's a channel with a big blue S. So now let's get to it, the grant writing fundamentals. How many of you are grant writers or are currently writing grants or are learning how to write grants? Let's see it in the chat section. Just let's see what's going on. Okay. All right. So we have people from different backgrounds that are just want to know about grant writing, which is really, really good. So we're just going to go through the outline. The outline here says, what is a grant? What are the types of donors? We're going to provide the proposal writing outline and everything that comes with it. And then we're just going to talk about other ways that we at Social Impact Consulting can support you. And then we're going to summarize and then the conclusion. So what is a grant proposal? A grant proposal is an application for funds from a certain type of donor. Now, most donors have their own template, based on their own requirements for engagement. Just make sure that as you're researching your donor, ensure that your mission and programs align with their objectives and their strategic plan so that you're compatible and then you have a value proposition to bring them. Okay? So it's important for your organization to understand their requirements and timelines for submission. Now we're just going to go to the different types of donors. Now these are various types, and I'm going to even go into the restricted funding. So you have corporate sustainability department. So depending on what country you're reaching us from, a lot of these companies are Nigeria and sub-Saharan African institutions like First Bank, Fidelity, Guarantee Trust Bank, Access Bank, Nigerian Breweries. Olam is a global company. ExxonMobil, Airtel, British American Tobacco. With the corporate sustainability department, you have these organizations that are actually they have a department that wants to be able to give back to the community or the country where they do business. So some companies, some organizations may decide, okay, we want to do financial literacy for young people, which was one of First Bank's priorities. You understand what I'm saying? And then each organization has their own different priority in terms of what they do in these communities, and they partner with nonprofits to actually make that happen. So just look around, who are the companies in your communities or in where you are operating, and see if your visions align. Another way to actually work with these folks is that they usually have their sustainability reports. So once you look at their sustainability report, are their activities aligned with the objectives of your organization? That's the $1 million question. Answer it and see if it's an engagement you want to move forward with. Okay, we're looking at corporate philanthropy. Now, this is slightly different because these are organizations that are registered as a non-profit status and that are actually designed to give back to society. So those are tax exempt because they're giving and they're supporting government to give back to society. So just a few examples here. You have Total Foundation, you have MTN Foundation, you have Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation. So these foundations actually give grants to organizations to implement their strategy. So Total Foundation has their own strategy. MTN Foundation has their strategy. Aspire Coronation Trust, they are, so those are corporate because they are also tied to corporations. Total Foundation is tied to Total. MTN Foundation is tied to MTN. Aspire Coronation Trust is the philanthropic arm of Access Bank. Okay. Now we're looking at private philanthropy. Okay, so these organizations are actually registered solely, to give back. You understand what I'm saying? So like T.Y. Danjuma Foundation, Aliko Dangote Foundation, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Ford Foundation, Open Society Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation. These are both national and international philanthropy. Okay. So these organizations are registered and their sole purpose is to give back. They are not tied, these are like Aliko Dangote Foundation. Yes, he is the chairman and CEO of the Dangote Group, but the Aliko Dangote Foundation is not tied to the Dangote Group. You get what I'm saying? They're not a philanthropic arm of the Dangote Group. They are not a CSR arm of the Dangote Group. Same with Tony Elumelu Foundation. Tony Elumelu is like a business magnet. However, the Tony Elumelu Foundation is no way tied to any of his companies. Okay. Now, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, you know that Bill Gates is the founder of Microsoft. Okay. But Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the foundation is not tied to Microsoft, and they are one of the largest private philanthropy organizations in the world, but they have not, it's not tied to Microsoft. Ford Foundation, it's by Henry Ford Motor Company. That's the owner and the founder of Ford Motor Company. But Ford Foundation has its priorities that are separate from the Ford Motor Company. Okay. So Open Society Foundation, that is George Soros, so he started this foundation, which is completely separate from his group of companies as well, just as John and Catherine MacArthur Foundation as well. So I think there was a statement that I read that John MacArthur said. He said, "It's my job to make all the money, build my businesses, and then it's your job to now use the money and give back to society." Okay, and they have been able to empower organizations to do that. So that's private philanthropy. Okay, then you now look at international implementing partners. Okay, so now what do I mean by international implementing partners? These are companies, okay, that have bids. They bid for projects from the bilateral and multilateral agencies that who have big budgets into the millions, tens of millions of dollars. Okay, so they could bid a project to provide empowerment for nonprofits so that they can continue to impact society and advocate for the rights of the people. But they are the ones that bid. They manage the project, and then they now subgrant to smaller organizations to implement. So you have organizations like Chemonics, Palladium, Creative Associates, DAI, FHI 360. These are implementing partners. So they are for-profit firms that implement projects. They are development contractors. So these are implementing partners. They usually have these announcements in the newspaper, on various development online platforms for for grant opportunities. You get what I'm saying? For RFIs, RFPs. So you now are able to apply for grants from these individuals, from these organizations. Okay. So the next is donor agencies. You have to be a big organization with a strong institutional capacity to even get money directly from organizations like these. So you have USAID, the United States Agency for International Development. You have UK Aid, which is now I think is FCDO, which is the Commonwealth Development Office. Then you now have the European Commission, and you now have the German government. So these are donor agencies. Okay. So let me go next. Now we're going into the proposal writing piece. Now to write, so this is the outline. You have a title page. Now let me give you a bit of a caveat. Various donors have their own templates, but in case they just said, "Let me see a proposal," this is the outline basically that you need to follow. Okay, so you have a title page, you have an outline, you have an executive summary, the background, project justification, objectives, activities, your log frame, budget, and conclusion. Okay, so we're just going to take that from the beginning to the end. Okay, now your title page should have your organization's logo and name, the project title, the author of the proposal, contact information, and date. Okay, so the project title should be in the middle of the page. Then right below that, you have the author, and your contact details. You have your address, the name of your organization, the address, and how you can be contacted. Okay. The outline, okay, it lets the reader know exactly what they're reading. It's like a map to the proposal. Okay, because some people may not be interested in looking at it from the beginning to the end. They just want to maybe just get to the log frame, or maybe they want to get right to the budget, or they want to get right to the objectives. So you need to have an outline so that people know where to go within your proposal. Then the executive summary. So most high-level executives, donors, they may not read the full proposal, but the executive summary. And what the executive summary provides you is a snapshot of the proposal, and it should just be like 2 pages long, depending on the length of your proposal. If it's a proposal that is about 20 pages long, if it's 3 pages long, that's fine. But if it's a short proposal, it should be very short, maybe like a page. Just gives the reader a snapshot of, what the problem is, what why should we conduct this project, why your organization is in the best position to conduct this project, how you're going to conduct this project, and just providing some of that basic information. So the next, we're going to be going into the background. Now, the background shows that there's a big need for your problem. Show the percentages, do your research. So giving an example in terms of the women in politics movement, it says here, this was in the background of a proposal. Okay, it says women in Nigeria make only 4% of the House of Representatives, 6% of the Senate, and 6% of the state houses of assembly. 11 state houses of assembly have zero representation of women. So women's representation in Nigeria have steadily dropped since 2007 and risks declining further without robust action to stop the trend. So it's telling the reader, like, look at what is happening. If we don't conduct this project, there is going to be a constant decline of women and political participation. Okay, so that's a background. So you need to provide the statistics. So this is where you need to do your research. You need to know your material so that you're able to provide a compelling reason why this project is needed. So now, it's telling you that there's a big need of your problem. It's really important. Okay, so with the background, the statement has to be compelling. Okay, you need to have this compelling statement of why you do what you do in your organization. Okay, so you need to have that information handy. Okay, now we're going into project justification. So this is saying, why are you doing what you're doing? What's your justification? Justify why you're doing this. So why are you doing the project? If the project has been predetermined, like, okay, there's a project description by USAID, or there's a project description by Chemonics, why are you the right organization to implement this project? You need to really sell yourself as an organization and how this project through your organization will provide a positive outcome to your beneficiaries. Now we're going into the objectives. The objectives is the goal of the project. Okay, this is what you base your activities on. Okay, so here, for example, an objective is increased participation of marginalized groups in the electoral process. So you're saying that we're gonna be increasing participation of marginalized groups in the electoral process. So this is where your activities will be developed. Okay, now we're going into the project activities. Okay, so the activities is the utilization of the inputs for this project. A project is a compilation of activities that will provide outputs, and a collection of those outputs will produce an outcome. We're going to be talking about that more with regards to the log frame. So, for example, an activity would be conduct a sensitization meeting on engaging women in local governance. So this example talks about this activity, and it's going to now say, okay, these activities will now be tied to money in terms of how much is this going to cost. So once you are able to develop an activity, it's easy to create a budget on how this activity will be implemented. Now we're going to be going into this log frame. Now, a log frame is a tool for improving the planning, implementation, management, monitoring, and evaluation of projects. This log frame is a way of structuring the main elements in a project and highlighting logical linkages between them, because if you have a big project, everything has to be linked. Okay, so if you don't link it through the logical framework, then there's no way you can make things happen. Okay, so here you have your objective statements. Okay, you now have an indicator, a performance indicator. This performance indicator tells you how you're going to be measuring whether or not your activity was successful. And then the measurement methods, which is means of verification, is okay. For example, if you had the sensitization of a community on women in politics and women in political participation, how are they going to know that there was a meeting? You have pictures, you have maybe a newspaper article, or maybe you have sign-in sheets. So these are your means of verification. And then your critical assumptions is, okay, what are the risks of what will happen if we conduct the activity? What may prevent us from conducting the activity? A critical assumption is, okay, we can conduct this sensitization meeting as long as the traditional leaders are in agreement with what we're doing. You understand what I'm So these are the critical assumptions. And then you're now looking at, okay, how do we mitigate those risks of not having our activities conducted? So it's everything is tied. So you have your activities, you have your outputs, you have your outcomes, and then you have your long-term outcomes slash impact. So that is a course in and of itself, especially with regards to monitoring and evaluation, because is this log frame that your team will use to monitor the project, and it's through this same log frame that midline and an evaluator comes in to now check to see the status of the project and whether it's actually meeting the outcomes that were stated when the project began. Okay, so that is log frame. Now with your budget, the activities that are being proposed in the proposal needs to have a budgetary line item. So the budget is the financial snapshot of your project. This is the cost implications for conducting the various activities in your proposal. So you have to make sure you conduct research of similar projects to find out the cost implications of those projects and try to match those numbers. And it could be a bit higher depending on what country you're in, depending on how long ago the projects were implemented, depending on whether or not you're adding certain other activities in the projects that are different from the ones that you're looking up in your research. Ensure that this budget is clear in tandem with your activities. Your proposal needs to be interconnected, okay? So it needs to be clear in tandem with the activities, and the bottom line should be obvious, because most donors, they may not even look at the technical narrative. They will just look at the financial narrative and then work their way backwards. So I'm just going to summarize what we've just discussed. Grant writing is the application for funds from a certain type of donor. And we talked about the various types of donors that we have. We have the corporate social responsibility department, which is the CSR department of corporations. You have corporate philanthropy, you have private philanthropy, you have implementing partners, you have donor agencies. You also even have bilateral agencies as well, such as like places like the UN, World Bank, African Development Bank, and etc. So most donors have their required templates, but what we went over is the general template, because some people may just say, please send me a proposal, and you can send them something. Okay, I also this is what is generally acceptable in terms of your outline. So prior to writing this proposal, make sure you understand the requirements and build relationships with these particular donors. Now, what I just explained to you, you can do it alone, but you don't have to. Now, what we have being scheduled now is a grant writing workshop. Now, in this workshop, it's actually experiential learning. You're going to learn how to write a proposal with the assistance of some of the best resource persons with over 3 decades of experience put together. You understand what I'm saying? As you register for the event, you're going to be put in a group. You get what I'm saying? Which will enable me prepare you for the workshop. And this is actually for registered NGOs only. Okay, because you will need to prepare for the workshop. You will need to actually select a grant that you're going to apply for, in this workshop. So we're not just gonna be going over theory. This is going to be practical. You're gonna write your grant, you're gonna send it out, and we're gonna hold your hand along the way. Okay, so we're gonna be working with you. We're gonna be facilitating the process all the way to submission, and all the way to even when you're about to start the project. Okay, Now we're having this in Abuja, and it's actually a 2-day packed workshop, okay? And it is only 100,000 naira, just only for today, because the workshop is actually 150,000, and I'm only taking 20 people. Once it's 20 people, I'm done, because I want a situation where there's one-on-one interaction between myself, the resource persons, and you as you go through this process. I'm not about to just say, okay, a lot of people, and then there's not that one-on-one attention. Okay. Now, with this, you're saying, okay, this is 100,000 naira. We have payment plans for you. You can pay half down now, and it will be able to stick to the price, because it's only 100,000 naira just for now. Just for this webinar, it's 100,000, but it's actually 150,000. But if you're able to pay something now, if you're able to pay half now, then you can pay the other half 2 weeks before the event. Okay. But mind you, once you pay this half, it is non-refundable if you're not able to make it. So make sure that you're able to make the event. Okay. In addition to that, we'll also provide you a free ebook, which is how to start and run a sustainable NGO, and a free discovery call. Okay. So you can schedule a discovery call if you have further questions, you want to talk to me, you're having maybe personalized issues regarding your organization. You can always have that conversation with me as well. Okay. So just make sure that we're able to work directly with you. Okay. So we've had testimonials. This is one of my workshops. This is Tina Hannes. She actually has an organization that works with IDPs in northern Nigeria, and it's very volunteer based. And she says, I have no words to express the value of the training. I'm so gingered and energized. Okay. I'm indeed a different Tina since the training. Thank you so much, Efwa Ede. I appreciate all you are doing. God bless you real good. I'll take on the blessing. Then this is Ebenezer Egwatu. He's actually the leading voice on patients' rights. His organization is Lawyers for the People Initiative. It's Lawyers Arise for the People Initiative. It says, thank you, Madam Efwa. It was a day well spent and money well invested. I got more value than what I paid for. Now, this is what I do. I make sure that I provide you more value than the money that you pay for the workshop and for the experience that you would have. Okay. And then I have one more. He actually flew all the way from Ghana for my training. He said, wow, it was an awesome experience. I really commend your efforts in putting such a knowledgeable seminar that the value outweighs the financial commitment. May God bless you and open financial doors for you in all your endeavors in the mighty name of Jesus. So that's Mr. Awa Namdi Sunday. He has an organization in Accra, Ghana. So look, these workshops that I present give you value for money, immense value for money. Okay. So sign up. Make sure if you order now, like I said before, you get the ebook for free, How to Start and Run a Sustainable NGO, and a free discovery call. So the initial cost, like I said to you, is 150,000 naira, but it's an equivalent of how much is dollar now. So it's just around the park of $250 for what I am going to present to you. This is nothing compared to what people charge for sessions. Like, they charge in the thousands. Okay. So make sure you order now, all for only 100,000 naira. So just make the order now. Payment plan options are available. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about what we just talked about. Now, the grant writing is an important aspect of running a sustainable NGO. What I have given you is the fundamentals of writing a simple grant. And I know you want to go into the next level. This workshop, like I said, only 20 people to attend. Okay, it's from Thursday to Friday from November 25th to 26th. In this course, nonprofits will write an actual grant application with the support of myself and my resource people. So please contact us now. Click on the link, okay, and place your order now so that you can be on a journey to further change the world. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I'm taking your questions in the chat section, and just make sure that you place your order, okay? Place your order. We've given you the fundamentals of grant writing. We've given you the fundamentals, but we want to take you to the next level, and you want to join me so that we can change the world together, okay? So I'm taking up your questions on the chat section, and we'll take it from there. All right, take care.